Hello everybody, X here, back at the beginning to give you another very exciting video, and whew, whew, gosh dang, like this sucker right here, oh shoot, man, I put so many hours up into this game for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom already. I'm a little north of 20 hours right now, and I was like, you know what, to cap off Legend of Zelda week, I just did unofficially here on my channel. I just put out that many Zelda videos in the span of a week though, but I was like, I just need to kind of give out my thoughts. I kind of already did in what my Zarcast podcast most recently though, but I kind of want to, that was me 5 to 10 hours up in this sucker though. But now that I put a little north of 20 hours in this thing, I'm calling it like a review impression thing right now, and it's enough to where I can give out a more detailed impression, but not enough to actually do a review. I mean, gosh, there's so much stuff you can do up in this game. I'm close to thinking about doing a review on it, but oh shoot, how the heck am I gonna tackle that thing though? But yeah, so in today's video, I'm just gonna be doing like a review impressions on my thoughts on Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This will not have any story related events up in here, so I'm avoiding all the spoilers, but I'm just giving my overall thoughts on the game and more so about the gameplay itself, the adventure and the exploration and all of that good stuff though. But if you hadn't already done so, make sure you go and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell. That way you can stay up to date on all things video game related I feel like talking about and discussing along with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But without any further ado, let's go and jump straight into this video. Now, where the heck do I even begin with this sucker? Because Nintendo, their whole marketing scheme with this whole entire game was, we'll show you bits and glimpses of this thing, give you a little nibble on the pie, but hey, when the game's about a week or so out in advance, we're just gonna open up the whole entire floodgates. We saw that thing with the 3-minute full-blown showcase trailer that was equivalent to the 2017 trailer for Breath of the Wild. And since then, we just got information upon information upon information. Thankfully, avoiding the story spoilers right here, though. The story has been good so far. I didn't, mess with it a whole bunch because there's that much stuff for you to do up inside this game that literally 20 hours up into it, after I got past the tutorial island, which that takes you about 3 to 4-ish hours or something like that, then they kind of open you up. You can kind of do whatever. You might want to head to like a centralized village spot right there, do that little bit of a glimpse of a story, and then outside of that, it opens up the floodgate. It says you have objective like 1, 2, 3, and 4 that you can go ahead and do. You can knock them out in any order though. But outside of that, I hadn't done anything else beyond that with the story because there's just that much stuff to do. First off, the shrines, because whenever you start off Legend of Zelda game, you're stuck with very few hearts in the game. And that was one of the things I decided I wanted to go through and tackle first. So I started hitting shrine after shrine after shrine. And at that point in the game, you have like 4 of your main abilities, Fuse and Ultra Hand, which really play off of each other as well. You have Ascend, and then you have Rewind Time. And with those 4 basic abilities, you're able to basically tackle out, the rest of the game in terms of the shrines. There's nothing really holding you back. I ran into a couple of shrines where I felt like maybe I didn't have something else. Like I thought there might have been a couple more abilities that you might have been able to unlock, but you should be able to actually knock out every single shrine with it. And the brainstorming power that you kind of need to do some of these shrines, because sometimes you're going to hit a little stump, you're going to hit a little bit of a hurdle. But I think that's the one thing that Tears of the Kingdom does really well, is it makes you kind of think outside of the box. For every single shrine that you're going up into, there's like a few different ways that you can actually go and knock these shrines out. Because there was like one shrine I managed to go to, and I was like, oh, you can either throw something at it, shoot an arrow, hit it, and use rewind up on there. Like there's this, I already just noticed there's already a handful of shrines where I just noticed this looking at the puzzle, how there could be a few different things. I feel like these shrines, in comparison to the shrines that we got in Breath of the Wild, they're more Zelda-y, if that makes any sense, in terms of going through and doing puzzles that feel a little more in the traditional sense, because you have to figure things out. I feel like that was the one thing that Breath of the Wild kind of missed, was the fact that them being able to actually have really good puzzles up in there just at the shrine level. That is really nice to see right there. And then in terms of that, there is confirmation of dungeons I literally put 20 hours up in the thing and I had not even ran into a dungeon yet. But I know that there are dungeons because they literally confirmed that out like the last possible second. It was literally like in the leading up moments to the game dropping. It was like that the eve of the launch day, and they actually confirmed dungeons up in there. I don't know exactly how many are up in there, but you do have that to look forward to as well. And if you're going through and playing through those shrines, you can only imagine what these dungeons are going to look like, because it's really going to make you think outside the box though. Now, in terms of the overworld exploration, it it's just freaking insane, man. It's just insane because literally you had the sky, which the sky is pretty big, and it's pretty nice. Like the Great Sky Island kind of set the whole tone for it though, just kind of looking down on the land of Hyrule and just seeing all that stuff you're able to explore down there though. But the fact that you had the sky, you had the surface, which I was really concerned with the fact of how many different things are going to change on the surface. But literally every environment that I ran into and saw, like whether it's the volcano area, the Zora's Domain, the desert, or just central Hyrule in itself, every one of those areas, I noticed some glaring differences that were different in Tears of the Kingdom versus some things that you actually got to see in Breath of the Wild. Like the environment has changed. So it's not just your copy 1-to-1 ratio of, stuff that was in the previous game to there. Yes, the topography for the most part is the same, but what's actually there, different elements and stuff like that, all of that is almost nearly changed. You can go and visit other towns and stuff like that. You can kind of see how the people and the environments and stuff have changed and interacted, and they're quite drastically different. It's just little things like that that's really cool. And did I even tell you about the underground? Like, oh shoot, that mess, they call it the depths, and they did not showcase this off, like I said, until like the last possible second. I think it was like literally on launch day or maybe a day after or something like that though. But they had the depths because we kind of had a glimmer of a glimpse of what we might have thought about an underground, but no, this underground, it's the real deal, because the fact that you're able to go down in there, it's literally pitch black. There's certain spots that you can hit off on the main, on the main level of Hyrule, and there's like gaping holes, and you're like, what is this? Make sure you have that paraglider before you dive up in there though. But you're able to go up in there and it's pitch black. There are some little light things that you can actually kind of throw around that kind of illuminate the area just a little bit though. But having to navigate that mess in the pitch black, and you have to bring some resources in there with you to kind of light up the area, makes things really interesting. And some of the enemies down there, oh gosh, they are really tough. Like I would say standard Hyrule is already like your normal level, but when you go down in the depths, that's like your hard, because most of the enemies are jacked up in strength, kind of like Breath of the Wild had Malice, thanks to Calamity Ganon and stuff like that. But there's that same kind of equivalent thing that's in this game. I won't say what the name of it is in case you're just kind of worried about that though, but you can kind of see that stuff out there. It's blatantly obvious when you kind of run into it. There's a term for it though, but literally when you step on that stuff over there in the underground, it takes away from your max potential hearts until you return back to the surface. So it's like little things like that, and just with it being dark, you have these really strong enemies and stuff like that though. I'm like, what the actual heck? Like, man, I got my cheeks clapped a few times up in this game. I'm gonna keep it $150 because it's just that much tougher, especially when you start off with 4 hearts in this game, and then you have to progressively do more shrines to increase your hearts and increase your stamina and stuff like that. So it's just little things like that. And then in terms of just going through and exploring the world, it definitely feels like it's more alive than what it was in Breath of the Wild. Sure, you ran into some NPCs and stuff like that in Breath of the Wild though, but with the Malice and the stuff from from the Calamity and whatnot though, it felt like people were extremely isolated and just kind of here and there though. But it definitely feels like the Land of Hyrule is more alive in the sequel game. And the fact that you're able to do this many side quests to be able to kind of help, and because people are going through and rebuilding, but obviously it happened to be roughly around the time that Ganondorf's coming back to us right now though. But people are in the rebuilding phase, so there's a lot of different things you can do with people that are on the side of the road, different things that you can kind of do with your horses and stuff, with your stables and stuff. And mind you, you can have some progression that carries over from Breath of the Wild with your horse stables and your horses and stuff like that from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. That's just a little bit of a heads up right there. Hadn't heard a lot of people talking about that though, but little things like that. And then being able to help with the different people that are in your home base. And when you help these people out with side quests, it might lead to better rewards with getting your items and stuff like that. It might lead to better things that you're able to do, or things that open up or take you to certain locations that could reward you with some really good stuff, whether that's on surface level, whether it be in the sky, or whether it definitely be up in the depths though. So there's a lot of different things that you can do up in the world. And then obviously going through and unlocking these towers and stuff like that. Because I felt like the towers in Breath of the Wild, when you were going through and doing those, they did feel, kind of old, samey, so with each one though. But when you activate these towers, and there's not nearly as many of them in Tears of the Kingdom though, but there's certain little tasks. Like it's not just as simple as climbing to the very top. Make sure you have enough stamina for it though, and just unlocking it, but rather the fact that you might find some that are inactive. You might have to do a side quest in order to activate these towers and such though. I mean, there's a good variety of different things that you can do up in this game in terms of, just exploring and unlocking all of those towers though. Now those Koroks, we got to talk about them dumb stinking Koroks, man. I seen some crazy stuff on Twitter with people roasting these Koroks, man. Like, take a look at this. So yeah, if that wasn't crazy enough, like the man, and that's just talking about the Koroks, people just bashing on them because I mean, because the one nitty gritty I would say about these Koroks is the ones where you have to carry a Korok and take them to a friend. Those are the most annoying ones. But your more traditional ones, like if it was like you picking up a rock or throwing something down a certain slope or something like that, those Korok ones I like. The other ones, not so much. I won't be going through and collecting them, but I think that's all I got to say on the Koroks themselves. Now, in terms of the creative ability, I've seen a lot of different things on Twitter with people coming up with crazy contraptions and stuff like that. Some things they manage to work, and some things somebody will hit something to make a thing activate with your technology in this game, which I won't say the name of that in case you're worried about that though. But I seen some Wile E. Coyote stuff up in this mess, man. I was like, gosh dang. But it's crazy to go through and see all the different combinations and things that people are able to go through and create up in this game. Some things where I was like, oh, I didn't even think about this or doing that. Or maybe even fusing a certain weapon to create a path across a water that you might have thought maybe you could have took a boat, put a fan on the back. But what about if you fused a weapon or, fuse an arrow with an ice weapon, froze a thing in front of you, take your staff, fuse that little part of an ice, and then stab that at the water every time you hop a step and making like an ice bridge as you go across. That's just two different scenarios to get across a body of water that a lot of people might not thought about. And there's obviously more than just that. It's just little things like that. I think that just really differentiates Tears of the Kingdom from your Breath of the Wild right there. So it's just little things like that. I think this is where that game truly shines. Right now, at the moment, this game sits at a 96 on Metacritic, which is really high. And then honestly, that's the highest thing we had in the year of 2023 right now in terms of all the games dropping. There might be some other games that might kind of get close, like your Spider-Man 2s or something like that, though. Maybe Final Fantasy 16, I think that might be an 88 to a 90, though. But there's gonna be some close ones, but I don't think anything is gonna nearly hit this high up in there. It's got so high where there's been some salty fanboys, both on the PlayStation and the Xbox side, respectively, though, that have been kind of calling people out. I saw some weird old stuff on Twitter, though. Like, you're doing really good when you're making fans on the opposite side of the team, making them feel salty and getting butt hurt, should I say, and then they have to try to take out their frustrations on other people. Some people that just don't have it all mentally here right now, though. But I don't understand the bashing, though. But hey, when you're good, you're just that good, though. But honestly, this game, there's a lot of stuff to do. I don't even know how many more hours I'm going to put up in the game before I actually start to progress the story a little bit better, though. Without even talking about the story, I felt like the story is really strong, really prevalent, and unlike Breath of the Wild where you have to kind of seek it out, it's literally happening as you're going through and playing through the game right now. We know Ganondorf is in the game. I hadn't even seen them yet, and I'm like 20 hours up into the game. That really says something right there, though. But the freedom and stuff like that, you might get caught up doing side quests. You might be getting caught up during shrines. Maybe you want to explore some Sky Islands. Maybe you want to explore more stuff on the land of Hyrule, doing, the side quests in there. Or maybe you want to be a daredevil and actually explore down in the depths and get into some places that you're not supposed to, on top of the dungeons. And then there's caves where you're able to actually do little things within the cave, get a few little materials in there, find like a certain enemy in each cave and whatnot, and just do that. There's a lot of stuff for you to do in Tears of the Kingdom, where honestly, I don't even know how some people are beating the main story with maybe a little side quest in like roughly about 60 to 70-ish hours. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it might take me about close to 120 hours on the levels like what I did with Persona 5 Royal for me to go through and beat this game. I literally think it might take me 2 solid months for me to go through and beat this game. Breath of the Wild took me 1. I'm thinking this game might be the one that actually takes me 2 months though. But man, there's a lot of things I could keep saying about this game, but that's just currently where I'm at with Tears of the Kingdom right now. I don't know if I'll do a full-blown review or something like that. I might discuss it a little more in depth, like once I actually beat the game, because I probably will have some things to say in terms of the story and stuff like that. But I think outside of that, oh man, this game has a lot to deliver upon. And I think, all the people that worked over there with Nintendo, Mr. Newman, all of them, I think they tip their hat. I gotta tip my hat off to them though, because man, golly. Now I truly understand why it took so long for them to actually make this game and why it got delayed a couple of times. Because they were in the kitchen cooking like a bunch of mad dogs. Like, oh my goodness, like we're really on to something. Like this, this new formula where Breath of the Wild is going in terms of, or Legend of Zelda is going in terms of Breath of the Wild, and then by extension Tears of the Kingdom, we're a whole new direction with Legend of Zelda series moving forward. Like they're all gonna be going forward with the open world aspect right there. There's just, man, there's just a lot to say, but until you really go through and play this game, you're not gonna truly understand and truly appreciate it. You might see some crazy stuff on Twitter, but it's a whole nother experience where you actually manage to get your hands on a copy and manage to go through and play through this game. Whew, my goodness. All right, so that's basically all I have to say in terms of this impression review-ish kind of video for y'all today. But y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below. Obviously, not talking about spoilers or whatnot though. What are your honest thoughts of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom right now? How far are you in the game? In terms of, story, like, have you done like this a tiny bit like me, or have you gone extensively up in it and have been thoroughly enjoying it as well? And then in terms of exploration stuff, have you seen little crazy enemies out there? Like, there's some crazy ones out there. You might understand that little reference what I just did right there. If you've seen it, then because shoot, there's some scary enemies up in this game. Like, gosh dang no. But yeah, y'all gotta let me know all of your thoughts on this game down in the comment section down below. So yeah, that's gonna basically do it in terms of this video right here. Make sure to go ahead and check out all my different other videos I did for my Legend of Zelda week, because I did everything in terms of like a Zelda tier list. I did my thoughts and what I kind of hope and inspire to see in the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I dropped a video for that. I did a launch day stream over there. I also did an unboxing over here. And I also did like my podcast video that kind of gave some review impressions, like live raw review impressions right there though. So you can check out all those videos there on my channel though. But that's gonna basically do it in terms of this video right here though. So if you really like this, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related. I feel like talking about and discussing along with maybe anything else Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If I do happen to say anything else about it, it might be me streaming the game on Twitch. You can always follow my Twitter account down below, because I usually let y'all know when I'm streaming on those games though. But yeah, that's gonna basically do it for this video though. So remember y'all, until we're at video I make next, see y'all.